Hi guys, welcome back. I hope your weekend was great. I did another one from Slavic Beauties. I wanted to see how the Inktense worked out on the paper, and I was a lot happier with the Inktense than I was with just pure pencil. I felt like the paper held up way better. For the wings, I did a combination of Derwent Inktense, and I used three different pencils. I used amber, dark chocolate, and mauve. Mauve being a very bright purple. It's not what you would think mauve would be, so test out your Inktenses before you use it. And then I used regular Derwent Color Softs, and I used three of those pencils: ochre, black raspberry, and brown earth. For the lighter part of the wing, I used a 20% cool gray. And to bring it all together and really mesh the colors, I did a layer of goldenrod, and that was Prismacolor on them. This picture also went a lot faster than the other one I did where I was using just pure pencils. I finished this one in about an evening. When it came to the clothing on here, I wanted something bright on her, and I didn't want it in the earth tones. I wanted to use something like jewel to make that clothing stand out on her. So for that, I used Derwent Color Soft. I used pink, Prismacolor Hot Pink, Pink Rose. Then I went two Inktenses. I used Crimson and I used Cherry. And you can also see I did use some mauve in it. When it reacted with the red colors, I got it very bright. And that's what I was looking for. The only thing I could say is about your Inktenses is watch the amount of water you're putting on. I think I put the most water on the sleeve. There was a little bit of puckering, but not too bad. You know, nothing that ruined the picture, or if you wanted to cut it out, you could matte and frame it easily. It didn't destroy the paper. And because I used the Inktense, the white showed up really well. I did use a tiny drop of Posca, but by the end of the picture, it practically scratched off, and it really wasn't anything that was standing out on the picture. Of course, I was using my Derwent Chinese White drawing pencil to do all the highlights. Now you can see I did try to use a Copic on it, and I think I would have done really well if my Copic wasn't dry. It was very difficult to use, so I sort of like gave up on it, and it didn't affect the picture at all. For the hair, I used the same combination as I did with the wings and the whole owl in general, so that I can get her and the owl looking like similar. I used a little bit more black in the hair than I did for the wings. For the eyes, I did a combination of Prismacolor, and I used chartreuse. And then around the iris, on the outside, I used olive green, and I did her eyes and the owl's eyes both in the same color. And of course, black. Just make sure that your paper is nice and dry before you move on. For most of it, I was using a detail brush instead of like a regular paintbrush. Okay, I think we're coming up to... On the headband, I started out with some canary yellow, and then I moved my way around with black, the purple, the mauve color, and I think I used some crimson in there, and the goldenrod, just to give it like a little colorful effect on it. I was going to do it in pure gold, but I just wanted to bring some color to the upper part of the picture. Now the skin tone was different. I started out with a base color of cream, and that was the Derwent cream. And I started it out because if you start out with the peach, it'll be too peachy. Her skin will be very red. So my undertone was cream, which made any browns that I put on her skin stand out as golden. For the lips, I used a combination of salmon pink from Prismacolor, and then over it I put on a layer of dark terracotta. The last thing I worked on was the details on the last feather and some of the skin, just finishing it up towards the end of the night. I still had to work on the claw, which I just used a combination of one of the browns and some light pink. I think it was blush pink, just to get that skin-like tone with browns on it. And here I am finishing up the face of the owl. I didn't overdo the feathers on it. I didn't get fancy. And then I finished it off with a spray of Krylon. So I hope you like this video, and I will see you in my next one. Take care.